evening. Thank you so much for joining us on ASONYE Live this beautiful evening. I hope you're having a wonderful or you have had a productive day. If your day is still ongoing, well, I wish you luck, and I'm happy you can find time to join us right now. Well, here on the program today, we'll be talking about so many very important issues. First of all, we'll be discussing the increased security threat in the FCT. Residents have been complaining about what banditry happening. We also read about a report just yesterday of the return of bandits. About 30 people were kidnapped in the Abuja-Kaduna highway. We also had several cases of kidnappings and armed robbery and attacks, I beg your pardon, from all over the place. We'll be discussing that with a security expert. And after that, after the first hour, we'll also talk about the president's anti-graft war. Is he winning? What should the KPIs be? That's all we'll be discussing on today's edition of ASONYE Live. In the studio to do justice to the first topic, like I said earlier, is Steve Okwori. Steve Okwori is a security and crimes management expert. He's also the MD or CEO of Stick Mirac Security Consulting. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, what is causing this rise in security breaches within the FCT? It's becoming very alarming, and of course, this is the seat of power. A lot of people are really concerned.
Yeah, thank you for having me. What is really causing it, if you ask me, from research that I've done, is as a result of the overpopulation that we have within the FCT and its environs. Overpopulation in the sense that some people just think that the FCT is where you can come and begin to get milk and honey. You know, they just carry their luggage and begin to find their way to Abuja. Unplanned, they don't have anything on ground that they want to rely on to make ends meet or to make a living. So the moment they come in like this, and it becomes very difficult for them, they venture into these crimes that we are seeing. And prominent amongst the crime within the FCT is the one chance criminal activity. Then we have kidnappings also happening within the FCT and in the suburbs of the FCT. In the area of one chance is very prominent, very prevalent, if you ask me. This is a type of robbery and also a type of kidnapping. You know, it's called express kidnapping. Express kidnapping is a situation where you pay for your own ransom.
Right there and then.
Right there and there, either through the ATM machines or through POS that the one chance syndicates carry in their vehicles. You know, and of course you know that this one chance syndicates the disguise under the pretense that they are legitimate taxi driver and occupants of the commercial vehicle. And meanwhile, all the occupants are criminals. And they so do it that you even have women amongst them. So if you see a vehicle with a woman sitting in it, you have this conviction that you won't be harmed if you get
But what's happening? They're becoming more brazen. I mean, I used to be the magnet for it. I would tell you that a couple of years ago, if I would always be a victim to this. And it happened to me severally. But they were more subtle. They were now trying to coerce you. Oh, there is money in the trunk of the car. We will stop somewhere. Can you follow us to some location and all of that? But it seems they are more brazen, they are more violent now, where they would even push you out of a moving vehicle. Exactly. They will stab you. We've read about several cases. What happened to this brazen attitude they are now posing?
I think the other one that you just talked about taking you somewhere, that one mostly is about, I think it's 419 or so, where they try to lure you, convince you that if you get more money for them to wash,
they will wash the currencies and all of that.
But the current perpetrators of this one chance, they have gone past that. You know, the current ones are armed. They either carry daggers, guns, knives, and even hypnotizing powder. that they can just sniff, and once you just inhale the powder, you just go to sleep. You know, so they carry all manners of items in their vehicle to see that they subdue their victims.
Right.
And you agree with that their victims are mostly women. Women are prone to these vulnerable attacks, you know, than men, because they feel that if they pick a woman or a lady, they can overpower such person in the vehicle. It's so unfortunate that these things are happening. The fact that a philosopher said, Emile Duncan said, a society without crime is impossible. I think that with that information, the government and our security agencies should know that they have a Herculean task to see that Nigerians are protected, you know, and the country is secured.
Yes, but what's happening in the FCT? It used to be the safest place and most peaceful place to live in.
Yes.
I mean, is there something that happened after the elections? It seems like we've been recording more and more cases.
You see, criminals don't know boundaries. They know no bounds. For me, I think that the risk of carrying out such a criminal activity or act within the FCT is very minimal, you know, because they go scot-free. We haven't seen the number of persons or alleged criminals of one chance that the police have arrested. If they have arrested, the number is very small compared to the way and manner the heinous acts are being committed, you know. So let us see that the police are really working, you know. I am not here to come and tell the police or to teach the police what to do. I know that they know what to do, and they should try to reduce the talk and back the talk with actions. You know, they give Nigerians, especially the FCT police, you know, they give residents of the FCT so much hope, you know, and this hope that they give, they come to the media, to the news to say FCT is safe. We should discard some social media messages that we see that they are not true and all that. But at the end of the day, we keep seeing that these crimes are being perpetrated. So what is happening? Now, what is giving these criminals, what is emboldening them, if you ask me, is because they are not arrested, they are not caught. It's the venture that you just go in and they succeed and retire back to their various abodes. You know, so if you see that you go into such a crime and at the end of the day you are not caught and you succeed, the next day you want to still do the same. I know of a lady that came to Abuja to obtain her international passport. She was advised to go to Lokoja to get her passport, which of course she did. She got to Lokoja. On her way back, the vehicle she entered was going to Kaduna, so she dropped at Giri Junction, and now boarded the taxi to Lugbe. The driver told her that he wasn't going to go to Area 1. She now dropped at Lugbe. The moment she dropped at Lugbe at about 7 p.m., the vehicle she now entered, the taxi she entered from Lugbe that would take her to Area 1, was a one-chance vehicle. And that was how they had her from that 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. the next day. Wow. And at the end of that period, they were able to cash out about 1,150,000. The husband had about 187,000 naira or so in his account. And she traveled with her husband's ATM card. At the end of the day, they brought out the POS, took out, transferred the 187,000 naira into an account. From there, family members and friends started crediting the husband's account with different sums amount of money, 5,000, 50,000, depending on what they had. Between that 7 p.m. and 4 a.m., they were able to cash out
with a POS that they had.
POS machine that
Please, let me use the Gen Z language now. Make this make sense to me. Is it that there's no regulation around the POS and that is why you can make transfers and withdrawals and you cannot get the information back? I have had my own problem where I think my account was hacked. It wasn't even hacked. I had a bad transaction. I paid to a certain account, and the police said, "I'm sorry, I cannot help." After I felt like I had knowledge of this, so I got my statement of account. I was hoping there could be that tracing, but it just could not happen. What is happening with the point of sale machines? Is it that there's no regulation? There's no tracking? You don't know who withdrew with what?
It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in this part of the world that certain things happen and we become amazed. I know for sure that people apply for these POS machines.
Exactly, with their BVNs.
So it should be on record that this POS that is going out, either from the bank or from a microfinance home or something, they should know that this POS is going to certain persons, that they have the person's information. So in the event where they use this POS to carry out this transaction, and you go to the police, what I expect from the police is that you go get your statement of account. You know, once you get your statement of account, and you have reported to the police, there's already a police order, you know, of investigation. So the bank, your bank and the police should be able, your bank should be able to reveal some certain information to the police, you know, that will, you know, give in for the investigation they want to embark on. But it's so unfortunate that I know of a victim that the police even frustrated the person.
Yes. At some point, you get tired and you tell yourself, so, this is not worth it any longer.
Exactly. Why should it be like that? If you report a crime that concerns you to the police, what the police ought to do is to see how to carry out an investigation. Is it
really a Herculean task
to
trace this POS? I mean, this transaction was done to this POS.
Why should it be difficult? It's an electronic thing. The information should be there.
Do you think our law enforcement are digitally savvy enough to, you know, figure out this was done here, we can trace it? Because I mean, I cannot.
21st century, technology is the in thing.
It is. So, however, have they gotten to that point?
Why shouldn't we get to that point? I've said it times without number, security is not cheap. If it means a whole lot of money to embark on that, we should be able to have it. You know, it reduces the time, the risks that even the security agents even get involved in this thing. You know.
Now let's go quickly to those communities that have been crying out. That, I mean, Kuje is one, Buhari is another. Several communities within the FCT have been crying out about these security breaches. Yeah. In fact, there are some in this FCT that tells you we get letters, meaning the community gets a letter informing them of when they will attack if certain levies are not paid. That's the most unfortunate thing we can ever talk about as a country that's trying to attract business, foreign direct investment and all of that. So what's happening? What's happening to this security architecture? I know the new, I don't know if we can still call him new minister. I know that, well, the minister of the FCT has been trying, you know, his bit to help with security. I know he has his joint task force. There's several others. What is going on?
Now, when I appear on forums like this, I try to tell the security agencies, the government, and even Nigerians that are listening, the solutions to these issues. You see, we should be looking out for solutions.
Right.
Now, the police will come and say that they are the lead agency when it has to do with internal security. How well are they leading? Are we getting results from their leadership, from the way they are leading? Nigerians are dying. Every blessed day, Nigerians are killed. Every blessed day, Nigerians are being kidnapped. And they are paying heavily for ransom. Let me shock you. Somebody was kidnapped in Buhari before Christmas. The person is still in captivity. They negotiated 4 million. They took the first 4 million. They refused to release the person. They started another round of negotiation. They arrived at 4 million. The ransom bearer now took this 4 million to Giri. When the ransom bearer took 4 million to Giri, they directed him at some point. They collected the 4 million and kidnapped the ransom bearer as well.
Oh my goodness.
As I'm talking to you, they just took another 4 million, which is 12 million. They asked the person to come with foodstuff, blanket. They named a lot of things that the person should come with, this ransom bearer, and directed him to that same Giri area. This one now was lucky. They collected the 4 million, collected the blankets and the other items that they listed. They allowed him to go. They have collected 12 million.
And have not released the 2 people under captivity.
They are still there.
And these are monies that would, of course, embolden them to do more, perpetrate more crime.
Certainly. And at the end of the day, if these people are released, they are left like that, no compensation, no means of trying to cushion the agony.
You're even going for rehabilitation that I would expect one to have.
And instead of trying to see that what causes or prompts kidnapping is taken care of. We had the National Assembly, the Senate, the Ninth Assembly, that went to amend the Terrorism Preventive Act or Prevention Act of 2013, criminalizing ransom payment. The senator from Imo feels that ransom payment,
it's a criminal activity. You should not embolden criminals like that. But what
but
happens
when
to
you are encouraging them,
yes? But what happens to your loved ones
when they are kidnapped? So the senator that made that amendment, if his loved one is kidnapped, will he now use back channel to go and pay?
Or probably even depend on the law enforcement. Now, how effective are the Nigerian law enforcement or the security architecture in getting back our maybe kidnapped victims? Let's start with that.
Law enforcement
used to even help out. I've heard stories
in Port Harcourt. 4 police officers, they are still in detention. They masterminded a kidnapping activity, and they were asking for just 1 million naira. In Akwa Ibom, 2 have been sentenced to death by hanging for involving themselves, police officers. So I am not saying the police are not trying. They are trying their best. They are doing their best. But let us see that what they are doing. I know we have bad eggs in all this, in the police, in the military, and the likes. We have bad eggs. But in handling these kidnapping activities in our suburbs, I have said it times without number that the way to go is to see how to handle it locally. You know, it is not for the police to begin to frustrate the efforts of a vigilante group or the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service.
Right.
It's not for the police to begin to frustrate their effort. The police cannot do it alone, and that is why we have the military. The military we're not supposed to have the presence of military the way we see them on our streets. It's because of the way the police are overwhelmed. And that's why we see military on our streets. So, the bill that is before the President Bola Tinubu, to give his accent for the bill for the establishment of vigilante is there. Even that of the Nigerian Hunters and the Forest Security Service is also before the President. The bill to establish vigilante was sponsored by the current Speaker, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. So he is the current Speaker, but when he did sponsor that bill, he was an honorary member. So now that they are in the office, we should see that such bill is being passed for us to begin to see the advantages that comes with having vigilante that will be armed to stand in the gap where we cannot see or have presence of our conventional security agents. So if you go to your rural community now, in Cross River, you can't find a police person there. In your village, I'm not talking about Carabao.
Yes.
I'm talking about
my local, my village.
You won't see a police officer, right? And you won't even see a soldier. But if you ask for a vigilante member,
chances are they are all over the place.
Yes, they will show. Look at what happened in Plateau, the killings in Plateau. Let me just digress a bit. I watched Senator Lalong. You know, he was furious when he was complaining that why would the military talk about proximity to where these attacks were happening. Now we know that some of these communities don't even have roads to get there right on time, right? But the police and the military, they have choppers, right? So if it's difficult to access these places by road, what's wrong with accessing the place by air? If you have like 10 choppers and you have like troops, like 10 troops in each chopper, and they go drop them, won't they be able to confront these bandits?
It's just like the Kaduna Abuja attack that happened yesterday. 45 minutes. That's how long it took them that operation, and there was no law enforcement. There was no security visibility or anywhere. What is going on? Because we already know how volatile that road can be. I know that Asari Dokuba had some time ago, I mean the Ijaw leader had some time ago bragged that the reason that place is sane, the reason everybody can fly that road is because he deployed 300,000, I'll be 3,000, I can't remember the number. But could this be true? Has he removed those people from the Kaduna Abuja Expressway? What is going on?
You see, our law enforcement agents or agency, they are complacent. What I mean is that when they record some successes, they tend to relax.
But
And I've said it,
crime is dynamic.
exactly. And I've said it times without number that perpetrators of this criminal act, they are always ahead of our law enforcement agents. Where they sit and plan, right? The law enforcement agents are not privileged to this information where they sit and plan. It is when they come out and execute, attack, that is when the information now gets to them. By the time they get there, the damage is done. So
Wow.
I think that we need a whole lot of intelligence gathering. And why am I saying this? If you travel from here to Kaduna, I've done some kind of research on that Kaduna road. From Abuja, let's say from Zuma, the Zuma Rock now, to Kaduna, you have about 35 or 36 communities on that stretch of road. There are communities inside. You just be driving on the road, you see grasses and other, but
There are communities inside.
there are communities there. So what is wrong with our law enforcement agents? You know, synergizing with these communities that have able-bodied youths and some retired police and military soldiers that have retired, that have returned to their communities. You can have them on this. You have them on this stretch of road where you on your way to Kaduna. The only thing that you need to do is to see or find a means of strategic communication. How you can get that information that attacks are happening and for you to have to respond.
Exactly. But then again, all the victims will tell you that we were even able to reach out to the military, we were able to meet law enforcement agencies. It is the response now. It's not the reaching out.
It's not timely.
So who do we blame for that?
Nigerians are not ready for excuses from the government and from the security agencies, because the government is there to take charge of lives and property. They don't. Nigerians are tired of that frequent
excuses and assurances.
And at the end of the day, they are losing hope.
Okay, before I let you go, since the removal of fuel subsidy, it has been very difficult for Nigerians to move around. It's one thing to say, oh, use the painted taxes, but it's no longer like that. You just want to move, and we don't have enough of that in spite of all the assurances and promises by the government. What would you advise Nigerians watching you right now, the FCT residents watching you right now? What would your advice be as to how they can keep safe?
Okay, yeah, thank you. You know, Nigeria falls in this part of the world where majority of her populace rely on public means of transportation. And that is why we will continue to fall prey to these attacks. Now, one of the ways of avoiding being a victim of one chance, for instance, within the FCT, I know that if these taxis approach somebody that is standing by the road, they will ask you where you're going. Don't forget that this one chance syndicate, they don't have a destination.
Of course.
As they're flying on the road, they stop and ask you where
are you going, and not that they are going to area one
exactly.
like often, right?
So if you tell them this is where you are going, they will now change their route to where you have said you are going. So you don't wait for them to ask you where you're going. Ask the driver where he's going. You know, so the moment the driver tells you this is where he's going, it is not your route. So of course you won't hop into the car. You know, so always ensure that you don't tell the driver where you are going. Let them be the one to tell you where they are going.
Right.
Then you will know that. Okay,
that's a good tip.
Yes. Then at this point in time, we have to be mentally alert. You know, sometimes you just have this intuitive. Feeling.
That discomfort.
Yes, it could be positive, it could be negative. Once you feel that negative feeling, you know, you just have to respect it and avoid such vehicle. And I just want to say that if you have a means of trying to capture the plate number of the vehicle with your phone, if you have the opportunity to do that, do that and send the picture to any loved one that you have. Because these people do this thing, they go scot-free because there's no trace. Supposing they know that their plate number has been captured, you think they will indulge in it?
Of course not.
They will not indulge in it. Of course, the law enforcement agents will now be putting eyes on the road to see the vehicle that is bearing such a number. You know, so we have to be very careful. You know, there are hotspots in this FCT, the Area 1, Nikon Junction, Bega, Lugbe coming to Area 1, the Kubwa, Dede, all these are hotspots. You just try, and the time that they operate, most times it's within evenings, from 6:30 going towards 7, like that. Like that is when they are really out to. So I know that we'll continue, we'll fall prey to this,
right.
But we'll just have to
be careful.
To be very careful.
Steve Okwori, Security and Crimes Management Expert, thank you so much for being part of today's edition.
Yeah,
thank you for what you have also shared with us.
Thank you.
Okay, it's time to go for a short break. Like I told you, would also be appraising the president's anti-graft war. Is he winning? What's going on? Well, we've had a very interesting weekend. There's so much to discuss. We'll be back after this short break. Stay with us.